The warning alarms screamed through the cockpit as Commander Zara Mitchell fought to maintain control of her exploration vessel. Sparks flew from damaged consoles while the ship spun wildly through space. The pirates had come from nowhere, their attack swift and merciless. "Come on, stay together," she whispered to her dying ship, pulling hard on the controls. Through the cracked viewport, an unknown planet loomed ahead, its surface a mix of purple forests and silver mountains. The crash was brutal. Metal screamed against rock as the vessel carved a deep furrow across an alien meadow. When the chaos finally stopped, Zara hung upside down in her harness, blood trickling from a cut on her forehead. Her left shoulder throbbed with pain. She managed to free herself and stumble outside. The air was breathable but thin, making her lightheaded. Strange flowers with crystalline petals chimed softly in the breeze around her crashed ship. Everything felt dreamlike and beautiful despite her situation. That's when she saw him. Across the meadow, another crashed vessel lay smoking among the purple trees. A figure emerged from the wreckage, tall and powerful, with skin that seemed to shimmer like polished bronze in the alien sunlight. His hair was white as starlight, flowing past his shoulders, and his eyes glowed with an inner fire that made her heart skip. He wore form-fitting armor that revealed impressive muscles. He moved with the grace of a predator. When their eyes met across the distance, both froze. Zara's hand instinctively moved to her sidearm. The alien male raised his hand slowly, speaking in a deep voice that somehow she understood. "I mean no harm, strange one. It seems we share the same misfortune." "Who are you?" Zara called out, keeping her weapon ready but not drawn. "I am Kale, of the Zarian warrior clan. My ship was damaged fleeing from raiders." He gestured to his smoking vessel. "And you, small warrior? What brings you to crash beside me?" Something about his manner made her relax slightly. "Commander Zara Mitchell, Earth Space Command." "Pirates attacked my exploration ship." They approached each other cautiously, both clearly fighters despite their injuries. Up close, Kale was even more striking. His features were sharp and noble, with intricate silver tattoos along his neck that seemed to pulse with life. His presence made her feel small, yet protected somehow. "Your arm is injured," he observed, his glowing eyes concerned. Zara looked down at her torn uniform sleeve, blood seeping through the fabric. "It's nothing I can't handle. Pride will not heal wounds." Kale pulled supplies from his belt. "My people know much of healing." She hesitated, then nodded. When his large, warm hands gently examined her shoulder, electricity seemed to spark between them. His touch was surprisingly tender for such a powerful warrior. "The bone is not broken," he murmured, his breath warm against her neck as he worked. "But this needs binding." As Kale carefully wrapped her injury, Zara studied his face. There was kindness beneath the warrior exterior, intelligence in those strange glowing eyes. When he finished, their faces were very close. "Thank you," she whispered. "We must help each other survive this place," Kale said softly. "Our ships are badly damaged. The planet grows cold at night, and I sense dangerous creatures in those forests." Zara nodded, though every military protocol screamed against trusting an alien. But something deeper than training whispered that this bronze-skinned warrior might be exactly what she needed, as purple shadows began to lengthen across the meadow. They worked together to gather supplies from both ships, building a shelter. For the coming night, with each shared glance, each accidental touch, something dangerous and wonderful began to bloom between two souls from different stars. Dawn on the alien world painted the sky in shades of gold and violet. Zara woke to find herself curled against Kale's warm chest, their makeshift shelter barely large enough for two. During the freezing night, they had gravitated toward each other for warmth. And now, she could feel his steady heartbeat against her cheek. She tried to move away, but his arm tightened around her protectively, even in sleep. His skin radiated heat like a furnace, and she had to admit it felt wonderful after the bitter cold. "The night creatures are gone," Kale murmured, his voice husky with sleep. "We survived our first trial together." Zara felt a blush creep up her neck. "We should explore the area. Look for a way to repair our ships." They emerged from their shelter to discover something miraculous. In the morning light, massive structures were visible in the distance, ancient ruins of gleaming metal and crystal that seemed to pulse with inner light. By the 7 moons, Kale breathed. Those are old beyond memory. As they trekked across the strange landscape, they talked about their worlds, their lives, their dreams. Zara learned that Kale was not just a warrior but a scholar who questioned his people's endless conflicts. He discovered that she had chosen exploration over a safe military career because she believed in bringing different species together. Your people and mine have fought for 3 centuries, Kale said as they climbed toward the ruins. Yet here we are, walking side by side. Maybe that says something about the war itself, Zara replied, acutely aware of how his hand felt when he helped her over difficult terrain. The ruins were breathtaking up close. Towers of translucent crystals stretched toward the sky, connected by bridges that seemed to float without support. Strange symbols covered every surface, glowing softly when they approached. This technology is beyond anything either of our civilizations possesses, Zara whispered, running her fingers over the smooth walls. Kale stood close behind her, so close she could feel his breath on her neck. Perhaps it holds answers we both seek. They spent the day exploring, discovering chambers filled with floating holographic displays and devices that responded to their presence. But it was in a small, circular room that they found something that changed everything when they entered together. The walls suddenly blazed with images, star maps, showing their 2 worlds connected by streams of light, symbols that seemed to represent unity and peace, and at the center, the silhouette of 2 figures from different species standing together. It's a prophecy, Kale said, his voice filled with wonder, about bringing our peoples together. The room grew warm, and suddenly the images shifted to show Zara and Kale themselves, standing in this very chamber. As they watched in amazement, their holographic selves moved closer, hands reaching for each other. This can't be real, Zara whispered, but she was already moving toward Kale, drawn by something beyond logic. Perhaps some truths transcend reality, he replied. Reaching for her, when their hands touched, energy flowed between them, warm and, without speaking, they moved closer, their faces inches apart. This is forbidden, Zara breathed. Yet it feels more right than anything I have ever known, Kale replied. Their first kiss was soft, tentative, then deeper as passion ignited between them. His arms encircled her waist, while her hands tangled in his silver hair. The ancient chambers seemed to approve, its lights pulsing in rhythm with their heartbeats. When they finally broke apart, both were breathing heavily. Situation crashed back. They were enemies by birth, from species that had killed each other for generations. What are we doing? Zara asked, though she made no move to step away from his embrace. Following our hearts towards something beautiful, Kale answered, gently stroking her cheek. Whatever consequences await, this moment is ours. As alien night fell again, they made camp in the ruins, and when the cold grew fierce, they held each other close, no longer pretending it was merely for warmth. Their bodies fit together perfectly, and their whispered conversations lasted until dawn. Sharing secrets and dreams they had never told another soul. Asterisk. 3 days had passed since their arrival in the ancient ruins, and Zara felt herself changing. Each morning brought new revelations about the mysterious civilization that had built this place, and each night brought her closer to Kale in ways that both thrilled and terrified her. They had discovered that the ruins responded to their combined presence. Doors that wouldn't open for one alone would slide apart when they approached together, and the holographic displays only activated when both human and Zarian DNA were detected. Look at this, Zara called excitedly from across the central chamber. She had found a new passage, its entrance carved with symbols of 2 intertwined figures. Kale approached, his armor now customized with tools and artifacts they had found. The markings suggest this leads to the heart of the complex. The passage sloped downward into the planet's core, lit by phosphorescent crystals that grew brighter as they descended hand in hand. The deeper they went, the more the very air seemed to hum with power. Zara, Kale said suddenly, stopping her with a gentle hand on her arm. Before we go further, there is something you must know about my people. She turned to face him, noting the serious expression in his glowing eyes. "What is it, Zarian? Warriors? We bond for life. When we choose a mate, it is with our entire being, body and soul. What has grown between us? ... He struggled with the words. "I fear I have already chosen, though you may not understand what that means." Zara's heart pounded. "Kale," our words were cut off by a thunderous roar from somewhere in the depths below them. Both warriors immediately drew their weapons, moving back to back in a defensive formation. They had never practiced, but executed perfectly. From the shadows emerged a creature. Unlike anything in their databases, 12 feet tall with crystalline claws and hide that shifted between transparent and opaque, like living glass. Its eyes were pure white, and it moved with terrifying speed. "The Guardian," Kale breathed. "The ruins have a protector." The beast charged. Kale met it head-on, his warrior training evident in every move, but the creature was incredibly strong. Zara flanked it, using her smaller size and agility to strike at weak points, while Kale absorbed its attention. "Hide weakens when it becomes transparent," she shouted, noting the pattern. They fought as one entity, anticipating each other's moves, covering each other's blind spots. When Zara stumbled, Kale was there to shield her. When his strength began to wane, she provided the distraction he needed to recover. Together, they brought down the Guardian, its crystalline form shattering into beautiful fragments that dissolved. Into light, breathing heavily, they found themselves alone in the aftermath, adrenaline and victory coursing through their veins. Without speaking, Zara threw herself into Kale's arms, and he lifted her, spinning her around in celebration. When he set her down, their eyes locked, and the tension that had been building for days finally exploded. Their kiss was fierce, desperate, filled with the recognition that they had nearly lost each other. Kale pressed her against the smooth wall of the passage, his hands tangling in her hair while she pulled at his armor. "I could have lost you," he whispered against her lips. "Never," she replied, helping him remove the pieces of his protective gear. "We're stronger together." In the soft glow of the crystal passage, they made love with the passion of two souls, finally accepting their destiny. Every touch was electric, every whispered endearment a promise. Kale's warrior strength combined with surprising gentleness, Zara's fierce independence melted into willing surrender and joyful dominance in turns. Afterward, they lay entwined on their makeshift bed of discarded armor and clothing, Kale tracing patterns on Zara's bare skin while she listened to his alien heartbeat. "The prophecy," she said softly. "Do you think we're really meant to unite our peoples?" "I think we were meant to find each other," he replied. "Whatever comes after, we face together." They dressed reluctantly and continued deeper into the ruins. What they found in the heart of the complex took their breath away. A chamber filled with devices that could only be described as miraculous. Technology that could heal any wound, machines that could terraform entire worlds. And at the center, a communication array that could reach across the galaxy instantly. This could end the war, Zara whispered. Our peoples could share this knowledge, work together instead of fighting. Kale nodded, but his expression was troubled. If they choose to listen, fear runs deep on both sides. As if summoned by their words, alerts began flashing on both their emergency communicators. Rescue ships were approaching the planet from both Earth and Zarian. Their time together was running out, and they both knew that the greatest test of their love was yet to come. The rescue ships descended like harbingers of a war neither Zara nor Kale wanted to fight. Earth's military cruiser touched down on one side of the meadow, while the Zarian battle vessel claimed the opposite end. Between them, the two lovers stood in the ruins they had made their sanctuary. Commander Mitchell. The voice of Admiral Hayes echoed across the landscape as human soldiers in full combat gear spread out in formation. "Step away from the hostile and report immediately." From the other direction, Kale's clan leader, War Chief Draven, emerged with his own warriors. Kale of the Silver Blade. "You will execute the human spy and return with honor." Zara and Kale stood back to back, hands clasped, neither moving toward their respective peoples. "I won't leave you," Zara whispered. "Nor I you," Kale replied firmly. Admiral Hayes approached, his weathered face grim with disapproval. Commander, you've been classified as compromised. This alien has clearly used some form of mind control. My medics will have you cleared of any influence within hours. With respect, Kale saved my life. We've discovered something that could change everything. You've discovered nothing but alien deception. Hayes cut her off. You're relieved of duty. Soldiers escort the commander to the ship. If the alien resists, eliminate it. Simultaneously, War Chief Draven strode forward, his massive frame bristling with weapons. Kale, your father would weep to see you bewitched by human trickery. She dies now, or you are no son of Zarian. She's under my protection, Kale declared, moving to shield Zara with his body. Then you choose exile and death alongside her. Draven snarled. The two groups of soldiers raised their weapons, creating a deadly crossfire with Zara and Kale at the center. In that moment, both realized that their love had made them outcasts from their own species. Run, Kale whispered too. Zara. Together, she replied. They bolted toward the ruins, hoping the ancient structures would provide some protection. Laser blasts and plasma bolts scorched the air around them as both sets of soldiers opened fire, neither caring that they might hit their own people in the crossfire. They almost made it to the sanctuary of the crystal chambers. But a stunning blast from Admiral Hayes' weapon caught Zara in the back, sending her tumbling to the ground, just as a neural net from the Zarian forces wrapped around Kale, bringing him down as well. Zara, Kale roared, fighting against the electric bonds that held him. It's Kale, she cried out, reaching for him, even as human soldiers hauled her away. Admiral Hayes stood over her, his expression cold. The alien corrupted you, Commander. We'll fix that. Take her to the ship and prepare for memory adjustment. War Chief Draven hefted his massive axe, approaching the bound Kale. Your execution will serve as an example to any warrior who considers betraying his people for alien flesh. Wait, Kale said, his voice carrying surprising authority even in defeat. The ruins contain technology beyond anything either of our civilizations possesses. Kill me, and you lose the chance to claim it for Zarian. Draven paused, greed flickering. In his eyes, speak quickly. Devices that could make our warriors invincible, weapons that could destroy Earth's entire fleet, but only I know how to activate them. Kill me, and the secrets die too. It was a lie, but it bought time. Draven ordered Kale imprisoned instead of executed, while Admiral Hayes decided Zara's debriefing could wait until they returned to Earth headquarters, separated by hundreds of miles on their respective ships. Hearts breaking with the knowledge that their love had doomed them both. But neither regretted the choice they had made. In her sterile cell aboard the human cruiser, Zara pressed her hand against the small viewing port, looking toward the stars, where she knew Kale was also imprisoned. I'll find a way back to you, she whispered, in the darkness of the Zarian brig. Kale traced the silver tattoos on his neck that had begun to glow brighter since meeting Zara, a sign among his people of true bonding. She's my heart, he murmured, and hearts will find their way home. Neither knew that in the ruins below, the ancient technology had recorded everything, and was already beginning to broadcast their story across the galaxy. The prophecy was not yet fulfilled, but the first chapter had been written in love and sacrifice. Their respective ships prepared to leave the planet, carrying the lovers toward uncertain fates. But love, once awakened, is not easily destroyed, and sometimes the greatest victories come from the ashes of apparent defeat. 2 months of imprisonment had not broken their spirits. Zara endured interrogations and therapeutic sessions designed to erase her memories of Kale. While across space, Kale suffered torture meant to extract information about human weaknesses. Both refused to betray what they had found, or each other. Then the messages began arriving, across both human and Zarian space. Broadcasts were appearing on every communication channel, recordings from the ancient ruins showing Zara and Kale's story. The galaxy watched as two enemies found love, fought together against impossible odds, and chose unity over hatred. On Earth, protesters demanded Zara's release, calling her a pioneer of peace rather than a traitor. On Zarian, young warriors spoke in whispers of Kale's courage in choosing love over war. But it was the discovery that changed everything. Scientists analyzing the broadcasts realized that the technology in the ruins could provide clean energy. For 1,000 worlds, medical advances that could save countless lives, and terraforming capabilities that could end resource wars forever. The ancient civilization had left a gift that could transform the galaxy, but only if Zara and Kale worked together to unlock it. Sir Lieutenant Morrison approached Admiral Hayes nervously. The Joint Chiefs have new orders regarding Commander. Mitchell Hayes looked up from his reports, exhausted by months of political pressure. What now? She's being released. And sir, we're to escort her back to the planet. The Zarian High Council has agreed to a joint expedition. Similar scenes played out across space as both civilizations realized that their future prosperity depended on two lovers they had tried to destroy. The return to the planet was awkward, with human and Zarian ships maintaining suspicious distances. But when Zara and Kale saw each other across the meadow where they had first crashed, everything else disappeared. They ran toward each other, meeting in the center of the field where their love story began. Kale swept Zara into his arms, spinning her around as she laughed and cried simultaneously. I never stopped believing, she whispered against his neck. Nor I, he replied, holding her as if she might disappear again. Around them, soldiers from both sides watched in amazement as the couple's reunion seemed to activate something in the ruins. The crystal structures began to glow brighter, and harmonic music filled the air. Admiral Hayes and War Chief Draven approached reluctantly. The technology won't respond to our scientist, Hayes admitted. It seems to require both of you. We're prepared to activate it, Zara said, her hand firmly clasped in Kale's. But only if both our peoples agree to work together permanently. You're not in a position to make demands, Draven growled. Actually, we are, Kale replied calmly. The ruins have been broadcasting our story across the galaxy. Public pressure from both our worlds supports peace. You can be the leaders who brought prosperity to your people, or the ones who let fear destroy their future. The negotiations took hours, but eventually a historic accord was signed. Humans and Zarians would share the ancient technology, establish joint colonies, and work together to bring peace to the galaxy. As the sun set on their wedding day, the first union between a human and a Zarian, Zara and Kale, stood before the activated ruins, now serving as a beacon of hope, visible from orbit. You think we really fulfilled an ancient prophecy? Zara asked, beautiful in her flowing dress that incorporated both human and Zarian traditions. I think we wrote our own prophecy, Kale replied, handsome in his ceremonial armor, decorated with earth flowers. One that says love is stronger than fear, unity more powerful than division. Their kiss was witnessed by both their peoples and broadcast across the stars, a symbol of what was possible when hearts chose hope over hatred. 5 years later, Ambassador Zara Mitchell Kale and Ambassador Kale Mitchell Kale stood in the bustling spaceport of New Unity Station. Watching there, two young children play with friends from dozens of different species. The galaxy had become a very different place. Any regrets? Zara asked, placing her hand on her husband's chest, where his tattoos now pulsed in perfect rhythm with her own heartbeat. Only that we waited so long to find each other, Kale replied, pulling her close as their children's laughter echoed through the station. Their love story had become legend, proof that even in the vast darkness of space, two hearts could shine bright enough to light the way to a better tomorrow. The end retriclod can make mistakes. Please double-check responses.